Hey, good morning. As you probably realize, it's not Wednesday. This is when I usually do this, but it's Thursday. Um, Tuesday was a big night. Karen and I's had to celebrate our anniversary, so we went out and had a good time, which meant yesterday was a little rough. Oh shit! Hold on a minute. Hold on. There we go. That's going to create a lot less problems. See the sun coming through the window, all the skin on the head creates a little glare. So we'll put a stop to that right there. By the way, go Pacers. The NBA season started last night. So now I have the Pacers to look forward to disappointing me multiple times a week as opposed to just the Colts once a week. But anyway, let's jump into this. We're going to start right away with Frank is trash versus West Side. Reggie's West Siders had a bad week against Jason Weeks' trash team this week. Thursday games can be a good way to kickstart your week. Unfortunately for Reggie, that wasn't the case. Thursday night got him off to a poor start. 16 points from your quarterback Carson Wentz put you behind the eight ball. Oh, sorry, somebody said eight ball. Caught my attention. Anyway, yeah, it'll really put you in a bind. Reggie's team just can't seem to get consistent play from anybody other than Travis Kelce. He's been the one consistent guy he could count on week in and week out. Don't get me wrong, I like Travis Kelce. I think we all would like to have Travis Kelce on our team. I just don't think any of us would want him to be the best player on our team, which for Reggie seems to be the case right now. Um, worse than that is not only did he get a lousy 16 from his quarterback, but the rest of his team didn't step up, and he put up 97, which gets him eliminated from the Survivor this week. I don't really have any kind of silly sponsor shit to do this week, so for the eliminator, we're just going to give Reggie this. Sorry, bud. Better luck next week. Uh, don't worry, I think you'll get it turned around enough to just miss the playoffs. Anyway, Frank is trash. Yeah, he gave Reggie the loss this week, but I don't know that it was a whole lot to brag about. He yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Lamar Jackson has been disappointing. Maybe, just a thought, maybe he should go from Frank is trash to maybe Lamar is trash. The guy started off on fire and he looked like an MVP candidate, but for the last 3 weeks, he's averaged, I think, 34, 35 points in this league? That's not going to cut it. And while we're at it, let's talk about Najee Harris. That's a round one pick. He picked him in round one, and talk about disappointing. And for what it's worth, Jason, I feel you. He was my number one pick in round one in my other league. So you can imagine, well, I'm doing in that. Not great. Um, anyway, Reggie gets eliminated. He's dropped to 2-4. And as far as weeks go, yeah, he got the win. He's 3-3, but yeah, I'm thinking he's going to need some help to continue to get wins. And I'm not sure that I see a lot on his team that's going to be able to do that for him. So we're going to skip now to Hertz Donut versus Team 3. After losing to Junior's team this week, Derek's Donuts are still atop of their division at 3-3. Of course, I think there's like 9 or 12 other teams at 3-3 in that division, but he's at the top at the moment. Um, Hurts, Jalen Hurts, much like Lamar, has been of a fantasy disappointment, fantasy-wise. In the real world, in the real football world, he's got his Eagles at 6-0. It doesn't translate to points and wins very often in fantasy, but for now, Hurts is doing all right with him. The weird thing is I'm not really an Eagles fan. I don't like the Eagles. That's partly why I try to avoid drafting Eagles players. The only time I really root for the Eagles is when they play the Cowboys twice a year, and I was pretty happy with the outcome this past week. The bye weeks have started, and I think Derek is probably the one that took the most damage from that this week. He had 4 starters off. And on top of that, the guys he had in place of him, he had 5 different players score in single digits. Yeah, that's a bit of a gut punch. It's hard to maintain a winning season when you're getting single digit scores from important players. But hey, you know, that's the way the game works sometimes. Let's see. We all know how I feel about Jason's team, Team 3. I feel like that's going to be the team to beat going down the stretch. They got a lot of talent, I just don't know why they're not scoring even more, to be honest. I mean, we all know Mahomes, McCaffrey, and CeeDee Lamb are going to be studs this year. But Breece Hall? Really? What the fuck? I mean, when Jason drafted him, I think it was like 44th, 45th, 46th, somewhere in there, somewhere in the middle of that round. I was sitting over here at my little island thinking to myself, what? A Jet? This early? Hey, you know. But hey, apparently Jason knew something I didn't, because the guy has been lineup lock-in. I mean, if I thought I could get him in a trade, I would be sending Jason non-stop requests. But I'm pretty sure he's a no-touch player for Jason. I would assume. I wouldn't trade him if he was on my team. Let's put it that way. Little Jason's now 5-1. Continues to get consistent play up and down his lineup. Even ESPN has projected Team 3 to win this whole thing. So it's not just me, guys. Even ESPN believes in this team. We'll see. A long season still to go. Hey, I don't usually like to save my team for last, but we're going to talk about TaylorMade versus Sam's Stealing Wins, or as I like to call them after a couple weeks ago, the Get Off My Lawn team. Sorry, Sam. I got to fuck with you. I don't get to see as much as I want, so I fuck with you on video here. But anyway, let's see. A 175-37 win for TaylorMade this week over Sam's Stealing Wins. And that was with a goose egg from Melvin Gordon on Monday night. Yeah, that looks concerning to me. That I'm not sure what to think of that. It's one thing if you get a goose egg from a guy who leaves the game hurt. It's another if they just yank him off the field with no real explanation. The guy was walking around the sidelines confused and looking like he's on the verge of crying, like somebody shot his puppy or something. That could be a problem for me, especially if Jonathan Taylor keeps nursing this fucking ankle issue. But I feel like Taylor will be back this week. Melvin Gordon, I don't know. I got some issues this week. I'm glad I'm not having to pick, because I would want to pick my own team, but with Josh Allen and Devin Singletary off and still not sure if Jonathan Taylor is going to play, I'd be hard-pressed to pick my team this week. I would, because you're supposed to, but I'd be hard-pressed. I mean, I've lost Rashad Penny for the season. So, I mean, we'll see. If Jonathan Taylor doesn't get back soon, I could be in for a bit of a slide. Matt Ryan, really? 82 points on my bench this week. Normally, that would have earned me the Pillsbury Doe Award for not playing the high-scoring guy on my bench. But, come on, really? Who, at this point of the season, would have played Matt Ryan over Josh Allen? Not this guy. I'm pretty sure none of you guys would have either. So yeah, no Doe Award for making the right choice, even when, as it turns out, it was the wrong choice. Let's see. J.K. Dobbins and Chubb just didn't show up for Sam this week. Yeah, Chubb has been stellar for his team, but yeah, single digits this week, that's tough. That makes it real tough. Sam's dropped to 3-3. Like we discussed earlier, almost everybody else in his division. He's got a hill to climb, but he's going to get a couple more wins. Oddly enough, though, what I find strange about this division is you got I think I joked about 9 or 10, but I think it's 3 out of the 5 guys are at 3-3, and the other at 2-4 now. The strange thing is, I don't think any of the 3-3 teams are even going to be the one at the top of the division when the regular season ends. I honestly think, bare knuckles at 2-4 this week, even after a loss this week, will be at the top of this division. Speaking of Jeff's teams, we're going to talk about bare knuckles and balls deep. I know I just said Jeff May's team was going to come back and win their division, and now I'm going to tell you they took the L this week. But hear me out. Jeff may have only had a couple guys off on bye this week, but those 2 guys were Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. That's a pretty dynamic duo to go without, especially against a pretty stacked balls deep team this week. The Nucks handled their business with a fairly decisive 167-131 win. And while Civil's team doesn't seem to have any real standout type players like a Mahomes or a Josh Allen or maybe even a Tyreek Hill, other than maybe Justin Jefferson, that guy's a stud. But he seems to be the one guy on that team. Somehow every week, though, he's putting up consistently good numbers. I mean, I think he's scoring, I think it was 162 points a week. I know a couple teams that would love to be averaging 162 points a week. Kyler Murray for him has been a bit of a disappointment, but I wouldn't expect that to continue. We all know Kyler Murray's capable. Wow, that's a hard word. It shouldn't be, but I haven't had any coffee yet. But yeah, we all know Kyler Murray is capable of dropping back-to-back 95-point weeks at any point of the season. So you throw in some big points from Kyler Murray with the kind of production that Kevin's getting from the rest of his team, and he's a guy we need to be watching out for. But for now, we're going on to the next matchup. In Pickett We Trust versus El Diablo. Mike's El Diablo team could be in big trouble. Yeah, sure, he's fielding normal fantasy studs like Kamara, Godwin, and Ertz every week. Unfortunately, he's also got to pick between Russell Wilson and Tom Brady at quarterback. Wow, that's like trying to decide if I'm going to have a shit sandwich for lunch or a shit sandwich with pickles, because I tell you what, both of these guys have been just awful this year. Just awful. Tom Brady, maybe he's finally feeling his age. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe he's just finally realizing his ridiculously hot supermodel wife has decided that maybe Tom is gay and is going to divorce him. And look, we all know, we've all seen enough Russell Wilson in primetime this year to know that Denver fucked up. I don't know what's going on there. I'm shocked. I'm as shocked as anybody. But Russell Wilson was definitely not the answer, and I think Denver could be in big trouble for a while. But we're not talking about real football. We're talking about fantasy football. And Jason's In Pickett We Trust is definitely on fire recently. With this win over Mike's Diablo team, it's his 3rd in a row. It's 2 of the last 3 weeks he's posted 200-plus point weeks. Jason seems to be on the move. It's a little early to be putting your sprint in, but hey, you know what? He's on his way. He's 4-2 and in second place overall in points. And if Burrow and Chase keep combining the way they did last week for 125 points, we could all be in just a little bit of trouble. I think the last of the games we're going to touch on today are... Let's see, who is it? Who do we have? Oh, that's right. It's Trubiscuits and Gravy versus fourth quarter. Nephew versus uncle. Look, I get it. Nobody wants to be the team to be beaten by the only winless team in the league. But somebody had to be the one, and fourth quarter took it on the chin this week from Gravy. Look, these two teams have totaled for a combined 3 wins, and that's because one of them, they played each other, so one of them had to get a win, right? their combined score this week, the two of them, was 264. That just barely tops the high score Jason put up in week 2 of 258. So yeah, it's almost like neither one of these teams wanted to win. You can add Aaron Rodgers on fourth quarter to the long list of underachieving quarterbacks so far this season. Dalvin Cook has been the one bright spot for Keith's otherwise pretty disappointing squad. And as far as Austin's team, look, I got nothing to say about Austin's team because it's not that difficult to understand. I mean, I talked a lot of shit about him for quite a while, and I promised him as soon as he got his first win, I would have nice things to say. Look, it wasn't a great performance, but it was a win, so let's just give Austin what he deserves here. What? Where did it go? Here it comes. Austin wins! Austin wins! All right, that should do it for this week. One more thing. Look, I know I piss and moan and cry about not getting any money from the league for the budget for my show. It's just a joke. I don't really care. But if Jeff's going to get some cash, hey, so do I. Look, I've seen ISIS videos with bigger budgets than this little thing is getting. So, look, just throw me a couple bones, Mike. That's all I'm asking for. So maybe I can put something, kind of cool behind me like Jeff's got, all those faces. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, I'll be back on Wednesday next week, unless there's a reason to celebrate until all hours of the night on Tuesday like I did this week. Good luck to everyone, except for, I don't know, whoever's I'm playing this week. I forget. Whoever it is. No luck for you. Good luck to everybody else. Take care. We'll see you next week.